Namaste. Grab yourself 4 firm cushions, either 1 or 2 firm pillows or a bolster. I'm going to be working on the floor on a mat if you have one. You've got your comfy clothes on, and I'd just like you to come to seated. I have a lot of clients that I work with that have trouble sitting upright, and there can be many reasons for this, and it's no judgment of how anybody sits. So personally I say Sukhasana, easy pose, which is usually something like cross-legged upright through the spine, hands relaxed. It's not always easy for many people if you have tightness in the hips, if you've had maybe hip replacement, if you're struggling with lower back pain or nerve pain, or maybe you have scoliosis of the spine or poor posture in general and a weak core. So many things that can contribute to not being able to sit what I call tall. Sometimes we can, or some people grab a cushion to bring, or 2, or a shaped angular cushion if you have one, a yoga cushion, to enable bringing a tilt of the spine. So we relax, then we're able to release a little bit through the hips. But first of all, before you sit on anything, just sit upright and assess where you're at. Are the shoulders rounding? Do you feel you have poor posture? Is the lower back pulling? Maybe back of the pelvis, SI joints. Maybe you have to bring the soles of the feet touching and not actually sit cross-legged, or maybe the legs are open, maybe the legs are wide and straight, close together straight. Maybe you need support under the knees. So make a little mental assessment of where you're at and have all the props to hand. And we're just going to do a few moves to see if this helps. So we're going to sit at the end of this session and just see if that sort of helps release through the hips, through the iliopsoas group of muscles, which comes through from the front of the lower spine, through and round through the hip. Two muscles that come in and join near the femur, the lesser trochanter of the femur. Loads of information out there about the technical aspects of your being, and I'm not here for that, just to make you aware that this group of muscles attaches the trunk to the legs. So when there's any tightness there, which is common if you sit a lot, not very mobile, the muscles can be in flexion a lot here, and when you stretch them out it pulls through the lower back and is uncomfortable. So first of all, we're going to bring ourselves down to lie on the ground, on the mat if you have one, bringing ourselves down, and we're going to bring one hand on top of the other, or a pillow under the forehead if you'd rather be here. Widen the legs as much as possible, roll the heels in into Makarasana to release the weight of the spine and the pelvis down to the ground, neck in line with spine. Just taking a few breaths here. And then gently have a little, what I call a wiggle, just a little wiggle of the pelvis side to side. Any pain, obviously you're going to stop. Just wiggling side to side, maybe for 30 seconds. Stop, and then draw the legs towards each other, just slightly apart, and just bring again a little swish of the pelvis side to side. You could have a blanket under the pelvis here if you don't like the sensation of the pelvic bones resting on the earth, if you're quite bony here. And after about 30 seconds, push yourself up onto all fours. Either the toes rooted down or the tops of the feet. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. You can soften at the knuckles if you want to. Core drawn in, neck in line with spine. Breathe in, flat back, breathe out, round. You can come to dip if you want to, into cow and cat. As you breathe in, flat back or dip, breathe out, round. The chin can stay parallel to the ground, or the chin can move towards the chest if you're free of neck issues. So we're getting a tilt here of the pelvis, anterior posterior tilt, mobilizing through the spine. And if you can do this 30 seconds, a minute, keeping the toes at the tops of the feet anchored down, keep the core recruited. Okay, come to a flat back, tuck the toes under, raise the pelvis. So we're going up into down dog here. Focus on lengthening the spine, neck in line with the spine. You could widen the feet apart if you want to. If you want a little, again, maybe a little softness of the knee, lifting of each alternate ankle. Bring the feet back to hip width. Now if you can raise the right leg here with some weight bearing, just raising the right leg, lifting, pointing the toe, hip facing down, lengthening to the psoas. Iliopsoas. And then gently release it down. Have a little break. Resting back in crocodile on your front or back to child pose. Releasing back to all fours, tucking the toes under, raising up here for the inversion, neck in line with spine. And if it feels safe to do so, lengthening the opposite leg here, lifting. And gently release down. Okay, come to lie on your side. So I've got the bolster here against the sofa. If you're near a sofa, it's great because you can actually use the sofa as a prop. Have a cushion under the head if you want one. Lie on one side. And we're going to bend. So I'm bending my right knee. You could take hold of the right foot if you want to, or you could reach, or you could have a strap or a band or even a scarf around the ankle or the medial arch of the foot. The bolster is straight behind me here. You could actually just, if you don't want to hold the foot, you could just rest it actually on a bolster, pushing the hip bones forwards. Core is recruited and you'll feel this lengthening. To actually hold the foot, taking it back, we're changing the angle slightly. Or you might be able to rest. If you're okay through the knees, any knee issues, you'll avoid this one because you'll pull through the knee, but I'm fine with this, just lengthening from the psoas down. You get this going through the quads as well, stretching through the knee. So whatever feels safe. Maybe a few seconds, a little bit of movement is fine. Releasing to the opposite side. If you don't want to bend at the knee, you could actually keep the leg. You could prop it under a cushion if you want to, a cushion or two. So we keep the leg slightly apart, and then you could take the leg slightly back so it's still parallel to the ground. To Lengthen here, core is engaged, tailbone under, so we're not sticking the bottom out and we're not extending the lower Lordic curve of the spine. Again, if you want to take it in the hand, and I'm just resting the foot on the bolster here, or you could take it in the hand and draw it back, breathing. You feel you can change the angle slightly and just working with the sofa, but if it pulls on the posterior or anterior aspect of the knee, just release any pain, discomfort. You'll feel the lengthening, releasing, stretching, but any sharp pain or nerve pain, release. Gently release. Now you can either use several cushions towards the centre of the mat, bolster, or 1 or 2 firm pillows. You could have a cushion at the back of the head behind you, and I'm just going to roll over here. So this is sort of lower back going towards the top of the pelvis, chin to chest, support under the head if you want it. I'm going to lengthen my legs here, just relaxing the feet, and you can see I've got like a little bit of a dome going on here from the belly down through to the pelvis, down through the quads, front of the thighs. This can obviously be lower. This is a firm bolster, so this gives quite a big stretch here. So if you'd rather have just a couple of cushions or 1 pillow, that's fine, and you can actually build on it. Again, just mindful of the knees here with the legs lengthening. My knees are not locking, core's still engaged, rooting down through the heels to keep my legs stable here. Holding, breathing. You can do 30 seconds or a minute. Breathing into the belly, using the diaphragm, expanding as you breathe in and softening as you breathe out. You'll actually feel this gently increases the sensation of stretching through the front of the pelvis. And then you can bring the feet in. I'm going to bring the feet in as if I'm going to do bridge, lifting up. I can roll it away, or you could bring the knees in, roll to one side safely, however it's great for your body to release. Rolling, come back up. And come back into Sukhasana for your body. And just notice. So you could sit on a cushion or 2. If you're still tight here, what you can actually do, use lots of props. You could even bring, if I just grab a blanket here, you could even bring in a blanket for softness under the ankles. Support the knees. You could sit on the cushions, sit on 1 or 2 cushions as well under the tailbone if you want the tilt. Roll the shoulders back and down, lifting through the crown of the head, core drawing in, and just notice how you are sitting now. Has it made a difference? Just spending 5, 6, 7, 8 to 10 minutes releasing through the movements that I've shown today, and then just assessing how you sit. And it would be great if you could practice this daily if you do struggle sitting upright. You could even sit with the back against a wall if you've got a little bit of wall space. Sit in Sukhasana, however the legs are, use lots of support, back of the head, shoulder blades touching the wall behind you to aid posture. And closing your eyes, sitting in Sukhasana, palms together in front of your heart centre. And thank you, wonderful body, for practicing this short session today. Affirm today, I sit tall in my innate power. Today is a wonderful day. Namaste.